Hey everybody, RC here. Welcome back. And this is Let's Play Dwarf Fortress Tutorial Anviltrumpets, Episode 3. Uh, Somebody had asked what graphics pack I was using. I am using the Phoebus pack in the Lazy Noob pack. And the Lazy Noob pack current version is 43-03R03. So that is what I'm using, the Phoebus pack. I also like the Mayday pack, but seems the Phoebus pack seems to be what most of the Let's Play guys use, and I had switched over to that a while back. It does take a little while to get used to it after you're used to seeing the Mayday stuff, but it is what it is. So let's see, just to recap real quick, we've started digging in. We've got a cloth and a leather stockpile. We've got a finished goods and an animal stockpile for empty cages. We have a furniture stockpile so we can start getting things in. We're about to finish off this room. We'll let the miners start hauling things in, and we can't forget that we had an injury. Our carpenter and woodcutter was cutting a tree down and it fell on top of him and smashed his leg, so we're going to have to set up a hospital here rather quickly. So to expedite that, we had created the carpenter's workshop. We have one of our workers, the mason. Let's see. The mason is, I've made him into a carpenter as well. So he is currently working on the crutch that the person will need. And I'm going to promote this task for the bed and the table as well. The tables are also used for surgery in case the need arises for that, and you need the bed for the person to sleep in. So I'm going to place that in here. Again, what I was doing up in here, moving up and down, is using the plus and minus keys on your number pad, and then using P to promote the task to move it up in the in the order. And you can also, once you have one, you can do the end, do task now, and let me show you what that looks like. So if I do lowercase n, it will jump it up to the top, give it an exclamation point, and that will be the next item to be done. And so we'll go ahead and leave that, and you'll use that on occasion. I use that a lot when I have pressing items that I need done. Pulling levers, things of that nature. So they're going to finish mining out here. I'm going to show you how to do something else now. So we know he's building the bed. So we're going to use, let me pause. We want to build something. So we're going to use B. And then we want to build the bed. So this is what, anytime you want to build anything, so your armor stands, beds, floodgates, cabinets, containers, weapon racks, tables, chairs, levers, a trade depot. I need to do that. So that would be a capital D, and we'll just move it out here, and we'll just set it up right there with, again, using the plus and minus keys. We'll pick some siltstone. If you hit shift enter, for the depot, for example, you need 3 items. If you hit shift enter on an item, it will select all 3 items at one time, or however many items are needed up to the quantity that you have of that item. So that's helpful when you're building things like walls where you need a lot of items. It keeps you from having to do a lot of, keyboard tapping. So we'll get a depot going up there. But anyway, we want to build the bed now, so we're going to do B. And you'll notice in red it says we need a bed, because he hasn't made it yet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and shift P, and that turns on planning mode. And then I'm going to come down into the room where I want my hospital, and I am going to put it where I want the bed, and then I will hit enter. And now you see that we've placed a bed and there's a building present at that location. Now if we move that cursor, we can place multiple beds at one time if we want to. And then I'm going to escape to get out of that, and now I want to build a table. So T, again, he has not done that, so I will Shift P for the planning mode, and I want the surgical table right next to where the bed is, so we're going to place our cursor there and hit enter, and again it turns red because now there is a building in that place. Now you don't have to use planning mode. I can use Shift P now to turn that off. Now, let's say you make a mistake. You can hit Q, okay, which sets preferences and building tasks. So Q, bring your cursor over, and I'm over that table that I just placed. Now, it's suspended because it hasn't been made yet, and I can hit X, and it will actually remove that. Or if I want to put it there, but I don't want it built quite yet, you can hit lowercase s, and that will suspend the construction, and that will reflect at the top once it is done. So now it's already suspended, so we can't unsuspend it. But if you're not using the planning mode, that's where you could suspend an item. So we're going to go ahead and unpause. And I hit the tab to get that window to close there. So guys will start bringing in, the miners will start working now. And the goal now is to get as much of our stuff inside as we can. Now, real quick, I'm going to pause it, and I want to do D to designate. Remember, you don't have to have the window open, but if you ever forget or while you're getting used to it, open this up, and it's D for designations and D for mining. And then we're going to take our cursor here and use our arrow keys, and we're going to move down to where we want to place the next option. Now, I like to build right across from where things are, so we're going to make a door here, and you double click just to do that one. Remember, if you single click, it'll flash, and then you can open up into and then create an area that you want, and it could be, as you know, a large area. So like for example, well, let's see what this hallway looks like as soon as it's done. Now something has popped up here. You see this C at the top? This popped up earlier. I know what it is because we got the warning about the woodcutter getting his leg crushed, but that is a combat report. If you hit the R key, and this is not on here, but if you hit the R key, it brings up your combat reports. And you will have pages and pages of these as the game progresses. So it says the woodcutter is fighting. You can hit enter to view the report. The larch log strikes the woodworker in the right upper leg, and the injured part explodes into gore. An artery has been opened by the attack. The woodworker gives in to pain, slams into an obstacle, and he's in and out of consciousness right now. So he's up there in and out of consciousness. Oh, the other thing you can do is you can zoom to that location. And there's the yellow cursor. I'll move the arrow, and there's our poor woodworker with the smashed leg. Now, they can't bring him anywhere because there is no hospital zone. So it's not an urgent thing that you need to set up, but when there's an injury, you have to have one. So now I've ended up here. I want to get back to the other section. So just to refresh, I can use the shift and the down, the greater than symbol on the period button, and I can go down levels and I can get back to where we were. Or remember, we did Shift H and we had set that hotkey. Escape to back out of that. I can hit F1, and that brings me back to that location at my front gate. So that's how you get around quickly without having to go one floor at a time. You might end up digging 100 levels deep into the earth, and it'll take forever to go through that many screens. So you do want to hotkey several locations that are of importance to you. So we're going to unpause it again. Once he builds that bed, now he's already made it. All right, now he just built the bed here, okay? Now, You can do a couple of things once you make a bed. We can put several beds in a room, and then we can hit Q and come down to that bed, over the bed, and we can make that a bedroom. Now in this case I don't want to do that, so I'm going to escape out of this. And what I want to do is I want to go into I want to create a zone, and I want to put my cursor and I want to hit it, enter one time to get it to flash, and I want to go up to the other corner and hit enter, and then it lights up the whole room. And then here's a list of zones. Now I want this to be a hospital, so I'm going to hit H, highlight that, and you can also then hit Shift H to set hospital information. So this is where you can list how many, you'll see how many beds, how many tables, traction benches, boxes and bags, how much thread, cloth, splints, crutches, gypsum powder for cast, buckets, and soap that you have. So these are all items that you can make or will be able to make at some point in the future. And so I'll escape because I'm done out of that. Here's the options to use to change these items or select which one. So you actually use your up and down arrow or the numbers 8, 2, 9, or 3 to move around. And then you would use the 4, 6 shift to change things. Alright, so we're going to escape because we're done out of there. It is set as a hospital, so I'm going to enter that. And so that room is now only a hospital. Nobody will sleep in that bed unless they are a prisoner. Now, if we go up to our injured dwarf here, we should see somebody come and rescue him shortly. There he comes. He picks him up. I'm going to hit F1 to go back. Here he comes and puts him in the bed. And then our doctor, let me pause that. I'm going to hit U because this is how we are going to look at a lot of these. I just remember. Let's see, U. I don't know if it tells us that on here. It doesn't, so you'll just have to, oh, unit list, there we go. So U gets us to our group, and with the 4 screens, and this is what you'll use a lot. Remember, others shows anything outside that's in your zone. So we have our doctor here. He's diagnosing a patient, and so he's going to be going to check on our guy, and that's what's happening right here. They cleaned up the patient, but they need an empty bucket. So we are going to come over here to the carpenter. I clicked on it with my mouse. You could also Q from anywhere where your mouse is, move it up to the carpenter building, and then we want to add a new task. Use the plus minus keys to move around, and I want to go down and make a bucket. And then I'm going to add a new task and make another bucket. So we'll make 2 buckets here. And I want to go down and make, we made a crutch earlier. I'm going to make a splint, and I'm going to make 2 of those right now just to have an extra one on hand. And then I'm also going to make a wooden chest. And I'm going to make 2 of those. And once the chests are done, I'll explain what we're going to do with those. Well, in fact, we can do that now. Remember, we want to build, so B. And we want to build a container, which is a chest. Now, this is one of the worst parts of the game. Until you get used to what everything means, you just have to kind of go through and refresh your memory. Now, the Dwarf Fortress Wiki, if you do a Google search for Dwarf Fortress Wiki, it will pull up immediately. And let me tell you, the wiki for Dwarf Fortress is by far the best wiki I have ever seen for any game ever. So utilize that. It has information on everything by far. And then, of course, you can ask questions in the forums for Bay 12 Games. And there are a lot of helpful people there. Like always, you'll have some people that tell you that you're an idiot for asking questions, or there's, they don't have enough time to waste answering a question, but they do have enough time to waste to harass you. But there's trolls everywhere. ask your question, and there will be somebody that will give you some feedback, or do a search and figure out what you can figure out pretty easily what's going on. And you will do that a lot even after you've been playing the game for a while. I usually have the wiki open all the time when I'm playing, just to be able to look things up as I come across them, because there's a lot of things that even I don't know after playing this for several years. So we want to build a container, which in this case is a chest. So that's H, lowercase h. And they've already been built, but I'm going to bring it down in here, and I want to put one here. And, oh no, I don't want a bag. Okay, so containers are going to be bags or coffers. Coffers is a chest. So because they don't have that, I still want to build the container, but I'm going to do planning mode. Now what happens in planning mode with a container is it only puts out a chest. It will not put a bag in that place. So that's the best thing to do. Now the only time that doing the planning mode will hurt you is if you're trying to put something specific. So let's say later in the game you're building a temple and you want to put gold doors in the temple. Well, if you've planned doors in, let's say, 10 other rooms, one of your dwarfs may take that gold door that you're building and put it in the bathroom area, for example, or the dining hall, or a bedroom, and it goes missing, and you have to go looking for it. So you do have to be careful of that. But right now we don't have anything going on with that. So we've got the bed in here. We've got the table if they have to do surgery. We're going to put a couple of chests, and what will happen there is our threads. We looked earlier, our threads and our crutches and splints will go into there. And then the doctor can utilize that in treating our patient. So hopefully we can at least get him up on a crutch and to where he can have mobility, and then he can get back to work. With minimal damage and minimal impact to him functioning around. Excuse me. So let's see. All right, I'm going to pause it for a second. I had dug this hall, and this was kind of an access shaft just to kind of see what I was dealing with. And you can see when I mouse over it to the bottom right in the blue text there, it says it's soil. So I'm going to come back and I'm going to designate and D to mine, and I'm going to come up now and I want to mine out this entire area here and this entire area here. Now again, when you are designating areas, you want to make sure to leave a complete exterior wall, or if you dig through that you replace that quickly, because again, that's a second or a different access point into your fortress that somebody can utilize. So I also need to mine out, and you can, again, when you're doing singles, just like we did with the trees, I can click on an individual spot like that. Now this brown, that's tree roots. Let's mouse over and you can see to the bottom right in blue text. That tells you what it is you're looking at. So we have a soil wall, and this is tree roots. And if we go up one level using the shift comma, there's the tree that has roots growing down into that hallway. So if we dig that out, we're going to need to build a wall right there to block access from above, because they can come in from above, below, angles, the sides, doesn't matter. If there's an opening, they will get in. So you want to be very diligent while you're designating areas to block off any other entry into your fortress. And you just don't know when those attacks are going to come, so you have to stay on top of that all the time. A couple of things going on. We had made those bins, so here's one of our miners bringing a bin into the cloth area, and you'll see he'll end up picking up all this cloth and thread and putting it into this one bin and freeing up the rest of that stockpile. And once they get the other one, they will do the same with the leather, and if we have some more, that will allow them to bring more leather in. And also, while we're here, since we were on the subject of security and safety, Let's say that right now, remember these are ramps that go up. So if we go shift comma up one level, somebody can actually be walking here and come right down this ramp and be at my front door. So I may not want that. So we're going to go to designation and we're going to go to Z, remove stairs or ramps. And so we're going to bring our mouse, you see my cursor, yellow cursor right there, and I'm going to hit enter one time. You see it's flashing. That's if you hit it once. And I'm going to come over to here and I'm going to hit enter a second time, and you see it highlights all of the ramps in this whole square from here to here that I created that square area, and the miners will come remove those. So now anybody coming from that upper level, if they walk down a ramp, will end up over here, or the next closest one is over here. And so that'll be good to help them from dropping right in on us. And then as soon as they're done with that, I'm going to, and you can see them flash as they get designated by the miner. So pausing, he's cleaned out this area. So now I want to build, and we're going to go to lowercase g. I want to build a bridge. So we're going to build a drawbridge. Now there's a few things about drawbridges. Again, you see the cursor. If it's red, it's in an area that you can't build it. If it's green, you're good. All right, now the drawbridge has to be 2 columns wide. So if you look over here, we use K and H to change the width. So we're going to go K to go 2 wide, and we go U and M to change the height. So U extends it, M condenses it, K widens it, H narrows it. So we need to be 2 wide, and I'm going to go 3 high. And this is soil here, but this is solid or sand wall at least, and that's a sand wall. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in. You can build it right here with sand. You need a solid anchor point on both sides of the end of your bridge. And we have to talk about that in a second. Now I want this to be the end of my bridge. So I want the bridge, I want this part to end up retracting this way and creating a solid fortification of a bridge pulled up where nobody can get through it. But I'm going to pull it back and do it right even with this stone. So we'll have a little entry hallway, and then we'll have this, our bridge starting here. Now, before I place it, what we have to remember, we look up at the bridge, and right now it says it retracts. All that means is it will pull straight in, horizontally. So basically, it'll just drag on the floor in and out. Well, that won't help me any. What we want it to do is lift up. So your raising direction is the W, A, D, X, and S keys. All right, so let's hit W. It raises to the north, so it would raise from here to here. Now that would work, but I want it to go from here to here, so let's keep looking. A means it would raise to the left, so this side would flip up to this wall. D raises to the right, so it would go from this side to this wall. X raises from north to south, so this end would lift up this way. That's the one that I want. So once I have that selected and I have the size right, then I'm going to hit enter to place it, and then here's where you choose what you want to build it with. So it says for the item, the bridge, I need 2 items. Well, I have currently what I have available is 31 logs that are 2 feet away, 99 or more logs that are 5 feet away, siltstone, which is 5 feet away. I have 36 of those, and various other logs. You always want to try to pull from as close as possible, but that's not always the best place, because that could be a level up or a level down or 2 levels down rather than on the same floor that you're on. But in bridges, I like to build them out of stone. There's not really any harm building them out of wood. They can catch on fire. Dragons can destroy them possibly. But I want to use the siltstone. So remember to go in a list. We're using the minus and the plus key. I go down to the siltstone. Now, I can hit enter, and it says I chose 1, but I still need 1. All right, so now I've chosen 2. Remember, when you're choosing multiple items, 2 or more, you can hit shift enter, and it would have selected them all at one time. 2's not bad, but let's say you're building a wall section with 60 pieces of stone on it. You don't want to have to hit the enter key 60 times, so you hit shift enter and it will select all 60 of those. So now you can see our bridge is placed. It is ready to go, and one of our guys that does construction will set that up. Now I'm going to check something real quick on Dwarf Therapist, which you will not be able to see, and I apologize for that. Okay, everybody does construction. I'm getting it confused a little bit with RimWorld, because there you have to assign each person individually to do construction. What I was thinking was mechanics and architecture, which is building design. So if we click on the bridge, it does need architecture. So that's under the building design option when you're setting up your characters at the beginning of the game before you start playing. So you can go in to Dwarf Therapist, which is one of the add-ons in the Lazy Noob pack that I play with, and you can actually add them. Now there's a way to do it in the game. I don't know how to do that because I've never done it, because I've always used Lazy Noob pack, so I apologize for not being able to show you the other option. But it's, you go into the character screen and look under labors, and there's a way to add it in the game. But Dwarf Therapist to me is much easier. So we've got our miner still mining out. We've got our other miner. Let's see. He's no job. All right, well, he must have finished. He may have been feeding him or something. And then we'll have somebody start building the bridge, and then our miners will come start mining out these areas. So I'm going to go ahead and put a cut in right here, and thanks for watching, and we will see you next time.